Photography is made essentially of time. I often think that what we show is a point in time more than a window onto space.
The camera can't see space, it sees surfaces. People see space, which is much more interesting.
Hey, welcome to the Street Shots Photography Podcast. This is Antonio.
And this is Ward.
And we're at episode 252 for the middle of April 2025.
Wow, spring's coming.
What?
Spring's a coming.
Spring's a coming, yes. We're way into spring, by the way.
We're
here.
not.
So
We're not snowed again. No.
But maybe our area code people are in springtime because the area code 252 serves the northeastern corner of North Carolina, including cities like Greenville, Rocky Mount, New Bern, Wilson, and Elizabeth City, along with the Outer Banks. I didn't write that. I found that. So I'm just reading
that's Wright Brothers, Outer Banks, right?
Is it? Oh.
Yeah. Kill, Double Hill. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
very cool.
I do have a little story about North Carolina, which I'll fill in a little bit when we're talking about what we've done, but we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, middle of April. We've had one of the weirdest transitions from winter to spring here. There was snow in parts of Nebraska the other day, while here it was like 70 degrees.
Wow.
So really strange. Yes.
Very cool.
I've heard this is a very atypical winter for Nebraska, but so far so good. I've enjoyed this winter, even though we've had some pretty cold days. But we've had sun here, which I heard is also unusual in the winter. And but now we're into spring. We've got tulips popping up in the garden in the back, daffodils with little purple flowers. Why am I forgetting those? Little purple and yellow flowers. Crocuses. Yeah.
Cool.
It's all coming up. So.
Yeah, we had a
nice
third snowstorm. Not really a storm, just 3 snowfalls, one a week. It seems like every Thursday morning I have to go out and, well, not necessarily Thursday morning, sometime on Thursday. When I get to it, I have to shovel off the sidewalk and the driveway. It's, oh man. I'm done already. I'm done.
Do you just use like a regular manual shovel, or do you have a...
it's not worth the space it's going to take up in the garage to have a snowblower. So, and you don't
have a snowblower?
No, it doesn't snow enough here to really make it worth it. I don't think. Where I grew up, when you got 4, 5, 6 feet of snow in the winter, sure, I suppose it's useful. But here, it's just enough to really, upset you, and not enough to have to spend a few $100s on a mechanized monster that eats snow. So
yeah, well, our snowblower was primed and ready before one of the snowstorms, and Angie had taken it out and fired it up, and then the day it snowed, the damn thing didn't fire up. It's like, you've got one job, you stupid snowblower.
Yeah,
didn't work. So I figure for next season I'm buying one of those electric snow shovel things. I don't want to break my back.
I see the folks here in the neighborhood. A few folks have those. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think they're good with certain kinds of snow. Not every kind of snow, but
you can use your leaf blower. Use a leaf blower if it's a light dusting, just to clear off the sidewalk.
Dusting, yeah. But the snows that we had weren't terrible. They weren't like blizzards, but they weren't terribly light.
No.
But my back goes to hell. I mean, I go from an apartment in Brooklyn to here, where I'm like, what is shoveling snow? What is that? Mowing lawns. It's a whole new thing. Anyway. So
it's good exercise. It's fun. You're contributing to the upkeep of the estate. Just call the yard the estate.
I just am worried, like, I'm going to end up being one of those guys who, like, drops dead, or, while he's shoveling snow someplace,
I'm not afraid of that so much, because that is more likely to happen to me. But what I don't want people to say is he was doing something he loved, which he was shoveling snow. Oh, he loved to shovel snow. No, he didn't.
Yeah.
I'm always afraid when
pass.
I go, people are going to say that. And I'm like, no. Me keeling over in some foreign city with a camera in my hand. Okay. But shoveling snow, no.
No. Okay. Well, fair enough. So anyway, what have you been up to?
Not too much photographically. I was invited over to family friends on the weekend, and my friend, I decided to bring over my zine, my Japan zine or whatever, and he had borrowed some of my photo books, and I got them back from him. And I said, he was a smart guy, but he doesn't really know that much about photography. He knows quite a bit about art, but not about photography. So I said, after dinner, and they fed me dinner, which was really nice, and we had a few beer together. And he's, I said, let me tell you what, if you're interested, because he liked the rodeo book and stuff. I said, can I explain to you what I'm trying to do with this zine? So basically what I did was told him essentially what was in my article that I wrote for Substack about it, the sequencing and all that kind of stuff. And he just ate it all up. He loved it. And then he said, can I buy one? And I said, yes, you can. I have a spare right here. So he was happy. I was happy. It was kind of funny because I just brought it and I didn't really, I knew I wanted to show it to him, but I didn't, and then suddenly became this, I did this, and whatever. And then he says, oh, this is so good. Can I buy one? And so, so that was kind of cute and funny, but, maybe the beer was talking on both sides, but it was a good visit, and it was a sale, and I hadn't had a sale in a while. So
as long as you come out ahead,
that's
great.
right. Yeah. That's a big boost to the ego.
Yeah.
So, and what about you, my friend? What's been going on with you?
Well, let's see. I finally found a couple of film cameras I've been looking for. They were in the basement all the time. I just didn't look in the right box. But a new friend of mine here in Lincoln, photographer friend, for my birthday in November, gifted me a couple of rolls of Ilford, what is it, the FP4.
Okay.
And look, they come in these new boxes. I don't know if you've seen them.
That's like the old English thing from the olden days. Cool.
Yeah, the olden days. Yeah, it's the box is yellow with blue type and highlights, and it's not the old white box with the Helvetica font, or at least I thought it looked like Helvetica. The 80s design boxes and stuff. Anyway, a couple of rolls of those, and I was thinking I would put them into the first film cameras I would find. And I've got my Nikons lying around. I know those, but I didn't want to put them in Nikons because I didn't really want to deal with changing lenses. So I was looking for my Olympus Infinity Stylus.
Yeah.
And I realized there's an infinity sign in front of it, so it's called the Infinity Stylus. And I was looking for my Nikon 28 Ti, which is figuring the first camera that I find, I'll put the film in. And I found them both in the same place. I had a box that had old cameras in it. I also have a Canon underwater camera, which actually I could have probably used as well, because it's just changing the battery out. But I found the the Stylus first, and it was a camera. I've got a couple of those. One was mine that, like all the type is worn off of it. You could just tell I was using it all the time. And another was in a pouch that I had given to, it was a red pouch that was part of my mom's possessions, and I collected them after she died in 2009. And it was in perfect condition because she barely used it, and there was a battery in it still. And I was like, uh-oh. And the way for those who don't know this camera, it's like a little, I wouldn't say a clamshell, but you slide the front open and that turns the camera on. So the lens is hidden behind this little sort of curved door. It's a beautifully designed
We've got one.
I don't have it with me. I don't have it with me in front of me. Anyway, so I popped it open and it fired up, and I was like, it still has power. And I opened up the battery container. The battery had not leaked. It's a lithium battery.
CR123.
Less prone to leaking. CR123, yeah.
Yeah.
And, or is it a CR1? No, CR123A.
A.
There's an A at the end of them,
Right.
So I opened it up, and the lens popped open. You hear the little zzz of it opening up. And I was like, okay. And so I stuck the roll of film in the bed. And that one's an easy one. It's an auto loader. So put the film in, close it, and ready to take a picture.
Cool.
So I've been taking a few pictures with it. I'm not sure what I'm taking pictures of, but my friend offered the use of his darkroom and processing.
Oh, that would be fun.
Stuff. So when I'm done with the 2 rolls, I can go. He lives just literally down the block, a 5-minute walk, so I can go use his developing tanks and his little darkroom and downstairs. So I did that, but I found that the Nikon. So the Nikon 28 Ti is a titanium body point and shoot Nikon camera. Just like every Nikon piece of equipment, it's built like a tank, but it's small.
Yeah.
It has got this retro steampunky kind of window on the top with these analog dials and numbering of let's see, film. How many exposures left? It looks like a clock. It looks like a Swiss clock or something. Like a wristwatch. Sorry, wristwatch.
Yeah.
It's got your aperture. It's got your exposure compensation. It's got your focusing distance. And it's maybe I'll try to take a picture and put it in the show notes or something like that if I can remember to do that. It's got 3 settings. 4: off, program, aperture priority, and time exposure. It also has one of these little doors. When you turn it on, the lens is behind this little screen and it pops open. Mine is a little glitchy, so I'll see if I can try to turn it on here. Turn it off. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Could you hear that? Okay, now I'm going to turn. So now the door is closed. Now when I turn it on, the door kind of jams open, and I have to wedge it with my fingernail to get the lens to come out. Let's see if I can do it fast enough. There we go.
Oh, you got to work first time.
Out. Yeah, it's got a built-in flash. It's kind of like a rangefinder style camera, I would say. Not very many settings on here. It's got an autofocus button. It's got exposure compensation, time. You can do flash, automatic. But now to find these used, I looked them up on eBay, and they're like, people are selling them for like $1,800, $2,000. So guess what? I'm not getting rid of this.
No. I'm not getting settles it for you.
Yeah, it didn't have a battery in it because I had taken it out a while back, but it still had film in it. So I couldn't put the new black and white film in it. I looked at the film, and it's Ektachrome E100 VS, which is a 100 speed Ektachrome transparency film. And it doesn't have a name. It's not like, Tri-X or anything like that. It's just called E100 VS. Is it a daylight? I want to read this from my website. It's a daylight balanced transparency film designed for Kodak Chemicals Process E6. This film features the most vivid, capital V, saturated, capital S, VS, colors available in a 100-speed transparency film. It was meant to be a high saturation film with a neutral grayscale ability. It didn't really have any kind of tone to it. It used the T grain, so it was one of those more modern grained films. But it came out in the late
80s, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Or actually, no, I think it might have come in the early 90s. Frankly, I think it was
because the T-Max films were the first to have the T grain, the black and white films.
Yeah, this came out. I don't know exactly when, but I feel it's maybe the early 90s. Let's say early 90s.
Okay.
Early to mid 90s. I'm sure I can just Google it, but I'm not. Anyway, it was Kodak's version of to compete with Velvia.
Right.
I'm not sure if it was competing with the Velvia 100 or the 50 directly, but it was supposed to be a very fine grain 100 speed film with a lot of saturation, which is what Velvia, Fujichrome Velvia was.
Yeah. Cool.
But anyway, there was, I don't know, maybe like a dozen exposures already on this camera.
Okay.
So I started walking around shooting with it because I want to empty it out so I can put black and white film in it. And then I have to figure out some place to process this. So, in the world. So, some place.
Like fun.
But anyway, yeah. So, yeah. I bought some new batteries for these cameras. So, it's kind of funny to be walking around with a film camera again, especially in a point and shoot. You know.
Yeah.
I thought. I also found a Nikon. Actually, I found another Nikon point and shoot. I forgot that I had like a little teeny tiny plasticky Nikon point and shoot. And it's still down in the basement. I should take it out and see if it still works. So maybe I'll load the black and white film into that thing. So, but I'm kind of looking forward to seeing if the muscle memory of processing black and white film is still there. Because I remember, I don't know if he's got steel reels or plastic. I never used plastic reels, but steel reels, I remember how to there was a certain hand motions they had to do. You had to sort of pinch the film a little bit so that it curled. Mm-hmm. So that it would fit into the
center of the reel. You'd start in the center.
It would start in the center, but then it would spread into the into the coil of the steel reel. I know a plastic one I never used because you had to do this kind of weird the plastic reel you would turn back and forth and it would sort of
had little ball bearings that would catch the sprockets as you went.
Yeah,
I was a Patterson kid. Yeah, those Patterson tanks.
Yeah, the Pattersons. Yeah. So anyway, I'd be really interested to process this film. So and actually, I don't think I've shot FP4 before, and maybe not for a long time.
Well, I understand. Well, I've shot HP5, yeah, but I think they're a little bit more tolerant of more exposure latitude than the Kodak films of the same ilk. I mean, I shot Plus X for a while until it was replaced with T-Max 100, and I didn't like T-Max 100. I was more of a T-Max 400 person. But FP5
too.
And I had HP5 and the in that twin lens I used there a couple of years ago when I was taking pictures of cars and things.
Yeah.
They're lovely. That's a lovely film, and so if I can use a 400 speed film, I'm content to use that. So.
Yeah, I actually found I've got a bunch of expired 120 HP5 and FP4 films in like a box someplace that has been bouncing around. Probably they were sitting on a radiator for a while, and it's like, and I should fire those up. And I also realized I still have like 10 rolls of 120 film somewhere, and I don't know where I put them when I packed up, and those need to get processed. Anyway, sorry, this is a film thing. So, but this little Nikon 28 Ti I remember using it for even doing stock photos when I was on a trip to London just after Princess Diana died.
97.
My wife and I had a trip planned. It was actually, I think, when I proposed to her, was that trip. And she died. Diana died in the car accident, and remember that people were very upset at paparazzi,
right? Because
they thought they were responsible for the car crash that she was in. Mm-hmm. And I had prepped all my equipment to go to London. I was like, oh, I'm going to do that. And I was like, maybe I'm not going to bring all my gear with me because everybody was very upset, and I think they were pulling paparazzi out and beating them up. And so I pared down all my equipment to, I think I had a Contax, I can't remember. It was a 35 millimeter Contax. It was in the same format as this 28 Ti. I brought that camera, I brought the 28 Ti, and I think I brought something else, and I left it at that. And I shot a bunch of stuff for stock using these cameras, and it came out great. It was just as good as having
a 35 millimeter or having a SLR,
bigger camera. Yeah, so
cool.
Anyway, that's what I was. That was what I was doing lately. Also, I did receive Gavin's print. It's up on my wall right now. It's not framed, but it's up on my wall.
It's up on the wall. Until I figure out a frame. You're ogling it right now, deciding how you're going to dress her.
Yeah.
What clothes you're going to put on her.
I printed yeah, and I also printed a shot for him, which I have. I'll probably have sent it out by the time we put the show up. So, Gavin, it's on the way. You'll have already known that it's on the way, but cool. But I printed using the cold press paper on my Epson printer, which is a really nice way to print it. I think he sent me the same on the same kind of paper, but it's a matte paper. And one of the things it's taken me a while to do is because it's expensive to put inks in the Epson printer.
Yeah. So
I had to buy more inks in order to print. And so I was waiting for those to get around, but it prints on a nice black, like the blacks on that paper are just like, you want to eat them.
Oh, cool.
So it's like a carbon black is the best way to describe it. So nice. I printed my version of the print that he wanted that we're doing the exchange for on that same paper, and they're beautiful. I think they're a little more fragile though, so you don't want to rub them against anything. So right. Yeah, but it was very nice to bring out the printer again and do some prints. And I forget how much I like that printer. Epson is a real pain in the butt to maintain. But I think the newer printers, you don't go through as much ink for maintaining, or at least the heads don't get so clogged so easily. So yeah, I've been doing that. That's been
very cool.
Yeah. But what else is going on? Yeah. Well, the other thing is I'm going to be headed to New York in a couple of days. I'm going to my friend's celebration of life. My friend, one of my best friends, his name is Anthony Gliata. I known him since school at SVA. We're in the same photography class, and we've been friends since. He passed away last August, so they're just getting around to doing his life celebration. And he was living in North Carolina. So I'm not sure if he was in that area code that we're talking about, but he had just moved there from New York. So they're having the memorial in New York. I mentioned him, first of all, because he's one of my best friends, probably my oldest friend that I've had in terms of like length of time. I don't really have that many friends from back. I don't have any friends back in college, but we did a lot of photography stuff together. And I just wanted to mention him because he's part of my life and a big part of why I think I still do photography, or I've always done photography. We paired up once way back when, and we came up with this idea called TNT images. We're going to do like T, the letter N, like dynamite.
Oh, I see.
It was Tony and Tony images, right? Yeah. And we once made there was a place where you could make promo cards. When we were doing these, when we were first trying to get to do photography together, we want to do our own studio together and do our own, be partners in that. There was a place where you could print your your portfolio cards or something like that, and it was in like Hong Kong, and it was fairly inexpensive, but it was a big process to do that. So I can't remember how we designed all these things. We designed these cards that look like film sprockets with 3 panels on it with 3 pictures on it. So I think we did 4 different cards, and one of them was his and 3 of them were mine, just because I was shooting a lot more at the time. And he had actually had to leave school at the end of the second year because he needed to, it was expensive to go to SVA back then relative to, money they were making. And I don't think he could pay for it. So he kept doing photography while he was outside of school. So, so we did that, and we further on, I can't remember when we did this. More recently, he wanted to do more photography again, and so I scanned a lot of his chromes, and we made prints, and then we took out a booth at a Hoboken street fair in New Jersey, and so I bought a tent. I bought like this used tent, and we set it up, and he had built panel walls that were gray so that we could hang the pictures up inside. And so we had his pictures framed up and my photos framed up. And then we were going under duotone art, as in duotony.
Yeah. Cute.
Yeah. Yeah. And his plan before he passes was to go through his archive, and he had bought not a scanner, but like an attachment for your camera so that he could photograph his slides so he could make prints. So he was going to do all this stuff. And so it hurts obviously because he's our age, and it's like, when people our age start to go, it's also like reminiscent of like, could be us. Yeah. And he was he had to be one of the nicest human beings on the planet. And the thing about him is that he was always around. Like, I always thought he would be there all the time. And no. And I regret having not spent enough time with him. But one of the things he did was, but when I moved here to Nebraska, he had contact with Angie, and he had sent her some images or had images printed, and she framed them for me. So when I got here, there's a welcome package from Big Tony. Yeah. And it was 2 pictures of us, one from school, from our first year of school, which is a story which I won't go into, but we were dressed up as telephone linemen, right. Telephone repairmen. But then the story I'll tell quickly is the other picture was a picture of us when we took a trip out to New Mexico. We did a couple of trips to New Mexico, but our first trip was to go to the VLA, the Very Large Array, the radio telescope that if you've seen the movie Contact, it's in there. And at that time, like a lot of photographers who were shooting stock went there, and those radio telescopes became stand-in for satellite telecommunication, right? Because they, big dishes. Yeah. People would use pictures of that. And so we went there. What was really funny was that we got there and we met an astronomer who was coming out from like a 12-hour shift. I can't remember his name. Larry something. Shoot, I do remember his name. It's not. I wanted to say Larry Bird. Oh, it's obviously not Larry Bird. But he was coming out, and we were like just pulling out of the parking lot, and he said, "Well, you guys, you're photographers?" I go, "Yeah, we want to go take pictures of it." He's like, "Oh yeah, come on!" And he hopped. He went into his like station wagon, and he drove us all the way around the the arrays, and we got up to the dishes. He said, "Just don't climb on them," because told us, and then we went up into the control room, right? So we saw the very uninteresting, by the way. Yeah, it wasn't like anything like mission control. Yeah, and then he gave us his tour, and he said, "Okay, well, guys, just go out." This is the time when we could just go out. And we went into the middle, and he goes, "Just be aware of rattlesnakes." I was like, "I'm from New York. I don't have to worry about rattlesnakes." So, if anybody doesn't know this array, it's 27 gigantor radio telescope dishes, big dishes. They're on rail tracks, and they can move these dishes. There's 27 of them, so there's 9 on each sort of a Y-shaped array. And they have these rail cars that can pick them up and literally spread them out. And they spread them out, that becomes a wider-based telescope, wider-based radio telescope. When they're like that, it's a lot harder to photograph them because they can be very, very far apart. When we got there, they were at their closest configuration. Cool. So it made a lot of great pictures where they're sort of stacked up on each other, And so anyway, Big Tony and I got to the middle of this array. So think of a Y-shaped array. So we got right to the center of it. We parked our car there, and we just sat there and we photographed all day long. Mm-hmm. And it was really cool. So anyway, there's a picture of me and Big T standing there. I set up a tripod and we did a self-timer picture of the two of us standing there. And he printed it out. It was black and white, printed it out. And so I have that from him. Anyway, I just wanted to remember him on the show. I know he listens to the show now and then. And he was a sweet guy. And yeah, I'll be going to New York to say goodbye to him. And before I go, I got to print up a couple of pictures because I know for his family, his brother and sister, and their their children, stuff like that. The best thing you can have when someone passes away is a photograph of them.
Yeah.
And I hope I get a chance to tell a story like one of these stories that I was just mentioning, because those also I know are gold to when people lose somebody. So I'll definitely print the picture of him as a telephone lineman. I bet that
if I remember that picture, and I think I've seen it, it's got a bit of a Village People vibe to it, does it not?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
I don't
know.
Guys
from New York dressed in a very masculine way. I just, sunglasses and hard hats.
Oh my God! Come on. You know what? If he hears this from the infinity, he's going to come down and he's going to slap you around. I just Village People.
It's what I
Yeah, that's funny. Well, I'll tell that story at some other point. It's not photography related, although it was a very strange class that we're part of, and I remember that class specifically because of all the strange things we did. So there must have been something to that. This is the week that we're still in the middle of the Artemis mission to the moon.
Artemis, the Orion space vehicle on Artemis 2, yes.
Right. What is it called?
Integrity is the name of the capsule.
Integrity,
yeah.
Right. So we're recording now. Well, they're on their return from the moon.
Yeah.
Right. So why are we talking about this? Because of the photos.
Yes. Which
I wanted to talk about the photos.
Spectacular.
Yes, they are spectacular. Before we get into the full dive, what was your take on some of the pictures? What was what was your feeling when you saw them?
Well, we're very emotional about the whole mission to begin with. We can get into that about, moon missions being in our childhood and us having a memory of that. That's one thing. We're learning from all these different locations and whatever about the kind of equipment. We can talk about that, which was interesting choices that they made in terms of equipment they took with them.
I do want to talk about that, but yeah.
So I'm just broad strokes here. And
yeah,
looking at the images, with modern gear now and them being transmitted from the capsule to Earth because they're JPEGs or RAW, whatever they're sending.
Right.
And so
they're digital. Yeah, obviously.
And so we get to see them here and just spread them all around and look at them and see them in the NASA archive before they were even back yet, which is pretty fantastic. So it's mostly emotion in terms of what the content of the images. I think I kind of expected that, except this stuff from the dark side of the moon, which is both their I guess mostly their eclipse. They were behind the moon during what would have been an eclipse for them, which is an experience no humans ever had before that.
Right.
So that was cool. Mostly in terms of what I thought about it was just emotional, getting to see them, getting to see the quality. That's the long and short of it.
Yeah.
For me.
Oh, to be honest, the emotions did not strike me on this, but I'm really excited about the pictures. I love them. They are, for me, first of all, I don't know, these astronauts go through all this training, geologically, they're doing geology, they're doing all this kind of stuff. And I really, really wonder if there is someone teaching them about how to take pictures. And it's not about how to use the equipment, but it's like how to frame the pictures, because I'm finding some of the framing is what I'm moved about. I don't have them in the show notes. I know there was a couple of shots that were of them sort of from underneath and showing the astronaut sort of almost in a side lighting or an edge lighting, and they're looking out the window, and then there's this stuff going on outside the window. Yeah. There's a view. like of Earth or something like that. And I found those to be the most impactful for me. And it was almost like they were, I mean, now that they have digital equipment up there, they can take pictures and look at them and say, well, let's do it better. Like we're all doing, like we can take it better. But it was that humanness that they added to the pictures, the life in the capsule, and the wonder of looking out the window and seeing these things. Those pictures really, those had more of an effect on me than the ones of space. Not that I don't love the ones of space, because they're unbelievable. There's one picture that's showing a bit of the capsule on the left, and there's the moon. I think it's a solar eclipse, so the moon is blocking the sun. So the moon is backlit, but not entirely. You can still, it's not just a black circle. You can see a little edge of the moon where you can see some. And I'm just looking at this picture, and to me, anytime I see a crescent planet, like when I see the moon as a crescent in the sky, or you see pictures of Saturn or Jupiter as a crescent, for some reason, crescent images of planets make me feel more celestial, more spacey, or something like that, because you can really see the shape of the planet with the Terminator line between the light and dark of the planet, and it's just that curve or something like that. So there are a couple of shots of them coming over the backside of the moon, and the moon was brown, or something, at least in these shots. And then there's the crescent Earth behind it. And there's one shot where there's a bit of the spacecraft, the crescent moon, and then in the background behind the moon is the Earth rising.
Yeah, very tiny behind,
a very tiny, like a little horned thing or something like that. And I love those, but the ones with the people in it, I was moved more by those for some reason this time. And this harkens back to, I remember I was on, I believe I was talking to Bart on his show, and I can't remember what the theme of the show was, but I got into talking about this great shot of Neil Armstrong when he had just came into the capsule, into the lunar excursion module, and Buzz Aldrin took a picture of him with a Hasselblad, right? And I guess he had just taken his helmet off, and he's looking at Buzz, and he's smiling. He's got this, excuse me for saying, he's got the shit-eating grin on him, and his eyes, and Neil Armstrong's eyes are all watery. Now, if you know anything about Armstrong, this guy was like, he was like the pilot, right? He was like a pilot's pilot. And very, I want to say very unemotional, but the guy was...
He was all business for the most part.
He was all business, I remember when they landed there, I think his standing heart rate was some crazy low number, right? But here he is, having just gotten off the moon, and it's this shot of him looking at Buzz. He's sort of looking slightly off axis of the lens, and his eyes are tearing up, And it's that I fell in love with this picture when I first saw it, and it's that humanness to all the technology, that I found matters the most. So when I was seeing these other pictures of the astronauts looking out the window, I was remembering this Armstrong image from the moon landing. That being said, they're great. There's a place on NASA where you can download high-res pictures. Not the, I don't think. Well, you can download the full-res pictures.
Full res, yeah.
Not the RAW files, but the JPEGs. And you can also check out. I dropped a few of them into. Well, actually, on the website, when you go to it, and those links, I'll put the link in the show notes. It's an easy thing to find anyway. It's not terrible hard, but they have the XF data for a lot of the pictures.
Yeah.
So you can see what cameras they used. And do you know that, well, first of all, because I'm still a Nikon guy, I think I'll always be a Nikon guy in the background. NASA uses Nikon gear. Yay.
Yay. Yeah.
Sorry.
But what vintage of Nikon gear is the next question?
Oh, well, they had two vintages. I don't know if you know this, because we were listening to the live stream when they were, I can't remember what they were doing, but we were listening to crosstalk between the capsule and Houston, and they were talking about the cameras. But if you had to be listening carefully, and because it's our language, I knew exactly what they were talking about. They're talking about the 400 millimeter lens. They're talking about the difference. I can't remember the woman's name, the female astronaut. She Christina
Cook.
Okay, she was talking to the flight director or whoever was controlling them at the time about the difference between she was saying the D5 and the Z9.
Mm.
So right off the bat, I know what they're talking about. And she was talking about the difference in looking through the optical viewfinder compared to looking at the LCD screen on the Z9, and how different the experience was, which I thought was really interesting, because with the Nikon D5, it's a DSLR. So she's looking through the lens as her own eye would see it. We all know DSLRs, you're actually looking through the lens. You're not seeing what the sensor is capturing. You're just seeing what your eye is. So she's noticing that there was something about looking at the D5 that was better than looking at the image on the back of the screen of a Z9 or in the viewfinder of the Z9, whatever she was using. Because the Z9 is using, there's no optical viewfinder on that thing.
That's like a $4 million display. It's one of the better displays.
It's one of the better displays, but it's still, but it's still processing the picture in the screen. It's still showing all the effects of whatever, slight underexposure or whatever. It's not showing her what her eye sees. So what I've noticed in some of the pictures that I downloaded from NASA is the majority of the ones that have been being sent, like images of the day, and the ones I know they're being sent to the paper, are images from the D5. So I don't know. I'm just presuming here. Like I have no idea why, but I'm assuming if there was some camera that they like to use better, they're using the D5 more. So, yeah, right. They're processing it in Lightroom in a Windows tablet up there.
Okay, so really they are doing. They're not just sending RAWs down. Oh, cool.
They might be sending. They might be sending RAWs.
Well, who knows if they're doing RAW plus JPEG or whatever.
Yeah, but I did see them picking pictures on a tablet there. Anyway, so sorry to geek out everybody on that. But I think it's really cool that they're using. NASA's been using Nikon stuff for a long time because it's just Nikon stuff is built like tanks. It can just take a beating. So it's nice to see that. But the pictures, yeah. So anyway, I've been talking too much. You talk for a little while.
Okay. So I didn't. I mean, I could have guessed, I suppose, about the EXIF data, and that's fun to go through. Just the level of detail on the images. I did see like they, in between lulls in the mission on the live stream, they'd play these little mini documentaries, and they were showing when they were training, because you were talking about they taught you how to whatever. So they had in their simulator, in their capsule simulator, or even in some like classroom control room on the ground, they had images up on looks like the window of the capsule, and they were practicing using the long lens on that D5 to focus and see how steady they could be or whatever, and they were practicing focusing and operating the camera.
How would they do that? Because if they have a screen outside the simulator, then the lens can't focus on it.
It wasn't really that. I think it was really just so they had an idea of the size of the image through the window. I see. That was it. Yeah. So it's like, how steady do I have to be? What, I mean, there's no gravity, so it's not. I mean, the one, what do you want to call it? Famous picture. I think it was Earth. Was it Earthrise, or the one where you can see the whole Earth was like, sort of remember the exposure was. Oh no, it was from the back. It was the back of the Earth, lit by moonlight. It was the first big image that came out where you could see the aurora. You could actually see the line of the atmosphere around the Earth, and you could see the aurora kind of at angles, maybe at like a canted about 30-degree angle, because north and south was not directly like we'd look at a globe. So you can see aurora north and south, and then the EXIF data was 51,200 is what the ISO was set for, and it was a quarter of a second at I've forgotten the aperture. So, and it had a fair amount of grain in it, but the life in that image is like, lit by moonlight. The Earth is lit by moonlight. So that was very cool. And we should dig that one up. That was the first kind of showstopper image for me. And they took that picture before they went. It was on the way there. So I was really struck by that, and that was the first kind of like emotion. Like, these people are seeing things that no one else has seen. So from distances.
Well, speaking of what no one else has seen, I wanted to talk to you about this, since we're both of an age where we grew up when we were young. They were just going to the moon. We were what? Well, I remember seeing one of the moon landings on TV. When I
definitely remember Apollo 11.
I definitely remember Apollo 11, and so we were going through that, and we've lived through a lot of this space stuff, and now we're space race stuff, and we're the missions to Mars and all of that, and now we have this, and the images are the way we're experiencing these things, right? And so, but we've been so saturated with pictures these days. Like when we were growing up, you and me, like if we were going to see a picture of the Earth, we'd either see it on the cover of a newspaper, which was most likely, it definitely was probably black and white. Yeah. Because they didn't have a lot of color newspapers back then. Or we'd have to wait to see it in a National Geographic magazine for whenever they publish it. And the magazine, to be frank, those magazines were printed really well. But like if we wanted to see that color image, we'd have to wait for a while. And today we're looking at it in real time for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I wanted to sort of see that, how does that feel, that difference in time? From what we might call rarity, right? Those rare images of space. So now we're just, here I am taking pictures of the Orion Nebula in my backyard.
Yeah.
That'd be another discussion point at some point. But have we become oversaturated? What is the experience like for us? And I'm just trying to parse this out myself. It's like, it's like seeing too many pictures of the, Grand Canyon. Can we really see something new in all this? Now it sounds like you're experiencing the awe.
Yeah.
Still in the images. Yeah. And I'm seeing things differently. I mean, I still think they're great and it's wonderful, but frankly, I have been saturated with pictures, and now I'm also saturated with, artificial intelligence images or videos of things crashing on the moon or whatever. And it's hard to think about what's real and what's not. And to be frank, a lot of AI pictures look fantastic. They look like they're actually moon images. But
just before you were talking about impacting the moon, before I go things impacting the moon. When they were on the dark side, when the capsule was on the far side, they did witness impact flashes. So these are meteors striking the moon in real time, and they're seeing the flashes. I think they saw half a dozen of them. It's like, well, okay, as long as you hit the moon and not the spacecraft, we're all good. That was cool because I believe when the command module was orbiting the moon during the Apollo missions, they did see impact flashes on the dark side. So that's where they were first reported, and they made a point of two of them, and I believe there was two of them at any one time were at the windows, and then two were behind doing research and doing their things and gathering and whatever, setting the camera up or whatever. So that was cool. So they made a point of watching for these impact flashes, and they saw them. So that's good. And I don't know whether they were able to film them or what, but if they do, I would really love to see that. So What do I think about the kind of the loss of slowness or
well, anything that I've tried, does the our memory of those pictures that we've been saturated for, let's say, all of our life, do they deepen the experience of what we're seeing now? Do they get in the way? I mean, where can we go with this and stuff? The images are important, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember a line in what was it? The Right Stuff. And it was all about getting the press to see the 7 astronauts, and because the pictures and the press is what made the public really excited about the space program. And there was like no Bucks, no Buck Rogers, right?
Right.
So ultimately, no pictures. Do pictures sell this whole thing for us? But anyway, we've had this evolution for us.
Yeah.
We've gone from one, moon missions, rare to see photographs, to now pictures, every day of something. So what do you think?
Well, I mean, being from this particular generation, whatever, and knowing or having a pretty fair understanding of what is required for these newer images to reach our screens or reach our consciousness, I'm happy that we're able to do this as a technological culture. That's great. Yes, we're saturated with it, with images and just in general. And I mean, you think, and there's people I've seen in social media lamenting the fact that there's a huge portion of society and around the world that have no idea that this is even going on. Where in the old days, these were showstoppers, right? You would stop school and you'd watch TV and you'd watch this. And I'm hoping that has been happening in certain parts of the world, or certain, technical institutes, or, wherever, where you can have the students sit and watch parts of certain key parts of the mission. I hope that's still going on. And certainly it probably isn't to the extent that it used to be. But I mean, it comes down to education. Like, what the feeling is, I think during the mission, I think people don't know enough about it. And then once it's over with, and then the press start to, look at these amazing images that came out of this mission. And now I think it'll start to dawn on people what had actually gone on during this mission. And that's okay. I mean, yes, I wish that our society would come to a halt when we visit the moon, and maybe it will on the next moon walk or next visit when we're actually there. I think there'll be a bigger deal. Sort of like the way Apollo 11 was orders of magnitude more, appealing or getting more media attention than Apollo 8 was, this mission was very similar to Apollo 8 from 1968. But what was I going to say? Yeah, I think the younger crowd and others who didn't know so much about the mission happening on the day that it happened will start to see these things and then realize the kind of the import of it. I don't know if that's really true, but and looking back and going, did this really happen? I don't mean that in a disbelieving AI sort of deep fake kind of way. It's more like, that we really did this, right? These people actually went, and there's a bit of wonder, and I think there's some capacity for that. And I honestly think that's what's going to happen. It'll just be kind of a delay.
Wait, what role are the photographs going to play in this? Because we've got photographs, we have video, and I really want to focus on the still images, because let's think about, was it Apollo 8 that took the first picture?
Yeah, Earthrise.
Of Earth rising over the moon.
Yeah.
From anyway, and that picture ended up in the newspaper, and it was the one sort of, I don't remember it personally, but I remember when people were talking about it in history, like that photograph having so much meaning to it. Right. there's the Earth where all of history has taken place from behind this celestial body taken by a human being in a little teeny tiny spacecraft zooming around. Mm-hmm. That moonrise, that Earthrise picture is sort of even more than the shot of the blue marble. Although the blue marble picture, like the famous blue marble picture that's taken, I can't remember what Apollo it is, but it shows, it's the one that has been the Earth picture for so long. I remember using it in stock photography. It shows Africa and part of Europe and stuff like that. That was a very special picture because you could see the entire Earth in a entire Earth right. Excuse me for saying that. But this one, the Earthrise, was the one that got, and then there's a film of it as well. I think there was 2 people that were filming it as they were coming around as well. That still picture is what we sort of, or the still picture of Armstrong on the moon, you know, the holding the flag, or Buzz Aldrin holding the flag. I can't remember who was taking the pictures at the time. Yeah. Like those are embedded in our memories.
Yeah.
Well, these pictures do the same thing.
No,
because I want to say first. For you too, but I want to say for you, like, what's your personal experience? Rather than trying to talk for what the world is saying, I mean, you and I experience these things.
I get that, but I'm talking to the significance of what's going on in the mission, and that will the still photographs that come out of it are part of that. There will be the comparison, like we've been doing it, like the Earthrise picture from 1968 and the Earthrise picture from the other day, you know, a continuation, like kind of like, okay, we're back, you know, we've come back, we've supposedly or whatever picked up where we left off. The idea is to land on the moon and then go to Mars, or whatever that becomes. The images are important because, and I think they will have some staying power and some interest, and people will put them on their backgrounds on their PCs and all that kind of stuff. Like, you know, our kind of society's way of determining what's important, you know, in terms of images. It's my wallpaper. Desktop background, right? Yeah, it's my wallpaper, exactly. But yeah, no, it won't have the same kind of deep philosophical meaning as it will. You know, I'm just thinking.
Do you think it should?
What's that?
Do you think
it should?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because should this be just, you know, should we just be like, oh, well, it's another space adventure? Wonderful. I mean,
maybe it won't inspire everybody, but you know, the boys and girls that are in STEM programs, the younger generation, you know, you see them inspired by, I mean, we've got a fairly thriving space agency here in Canada. One of the astronauts is Canadian, which is good. Like there's a whole kind of thing of, and this is aside from the still pictures, again, this is more cultural, but things that science can do to inspire people to become part of the scientific community. And if that means going to the space program, joining a space agency, becoming an astronaut, becoming an engineer, all that kind of stuff that follows along with it. But anyway, getting back to the still pictures. Yeah, I think because they're taken now and they will be studied, and it's a more tangible, going to the moon is much more tangible now, and it's not some automated rover that's traipsing all around Mars. It's actually people that went out there that are risking their lives and that sort of thing, that these pictures will have. They will have some more import than, I think, even though it's a closer target than Mars, and the Mars rovers were and are a fantastic resource to, you know, planetary science, however you want to say that. Mm-hmm. But now that we've got literal skin in the game now with people going there, I think there's going to be, and with the pictures that actual humans took and not some kind of automated thing, I think there will be. I think it will catch on. It won't be as exciting, perhaps, or dramatic as these pictures were from the 60s. Everything was a first then. Now it isn't. Mm-hmm. And we don't have the, you know, there's not the attention span that we had in those days, and there's not even the time so much. But no, I think there will be. I mean, I think there'll be important images. As to whether they should be, I don't know. That's not really a question I could ask. I would like them to be. I could put it that way.
Yeah.
And I can have conversations with people about it.
If in all the best possible things, should pictures like this today move us in the same way that they did in the 60s? I mean, but let me ask you this: do these seeing these pictures for you, do they connect you back to those pictures that you saw when you were a kid, when we were looking at National Geographic?
The initial reaction to them is certainly that. And then I'm the older guy. I'm more philosophical. I quote unquote sort of understand the gravity of these images and what they are. And then I can start thinking about the technical parts. And so it helps satisfy my own sort of, whatever you want to call it, scientific curiosity about the moon. And then, watching the live broadcast, sometimes they put the telemetry up, which I like, because is it moving a mile a second now, or is it slowed down, or is it speeding up? Like, what's the velocity now? Are they underway? Are they going back? Are they translunar? Are they trans-Terran, or whatever you want to call it? Are they underway? Like, are they accelerating towards the Earth now? So there's a whole bunch of like sciencey things that go on. And I'm looking at images of the moon and its proximity and size and scale to the Earth. And what could I say? No, this was taken with a 24 millimeter lens. So then blah, blah, blah. You're seeing these, you're kind of putting things together from like almost like a movie director's point of view. Like, well, what exactly am I looking at? If I were going to take this picture, what would I do?
Yeah. Well, okay, let's skip all the technical stuff. What do you think about them as photographs of like art pictures?
Oh, they're great. They're amazing. And you mentioned.
Well, tell me your thing about it, because what I want to say is, like I said before, I don't know what kind of training they had in terms of creation of pictures. It does please me that they know what's important to put in the frame, but there's something about how they're. I think this happened with a lot of astronauts too. Not all of them, but there's a lot of NASA photography where there's something a little bit more to the photograph.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just the place and the historicalness of it or whatever, but the person who was taking the picture was very aware of something. Like, they weren't just, taking a snapshot.
Right.
They put a lot of thought into it and stuff like that. So anyway, I want to know what you think about them as at least the small group that I put up, and maybe whatever ones you saw. What do you think of them as like art? Maybe that's a little too.
No. But I'm thinking, the spacecraft is only where it is at any one moment. You're with the camera, you're poking it out the window there, or poking it behind the window. Poking it out the window.
Hello,
yeah, problem.
Roll the window up.
Roll the window down while it's 80 to 400, which I wish I had one of those. Like I say, the spacecraft is where it is. You're at the window. You can't move a few hundred yards this way or that way. You are trapped in the capsule, and you're lying in wait. This is the ultimate fishing expedition in terms of photography, I think. And you're waiting until, the moon is here, and are we getting part of the craft in or no, or what are we, I think the images I think the compositions happen just because of where the spacecraft is, and can we get, where's the Earth going to be? We're going to have Earth is going to be in close proximity to the moon. And I want to make sure I get enough of the moon so I can see the texture, see where the terminator is. And is there glare? Wait for the glare. And, can we expose for the stars or whatever? What can we do?
Wait, so you're saying the art is coming from the circumstances?
The art is coming from the circumstances, I think, a lot.
Not from the art, not from the artist.
No, well, the timing, they still have to, they're still.
Okay.
They still
this is very interesting.
But I think it's sort of, your job is to photograph, and you've got this time, you've got these, what are they, hour-long observation stints, right?
Okay, but this might be a stretch, so forgive me for this, but could you say that pretty much about anything that you're photographing? Like you go to the let's say Grand Canyon, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you can probably wait for the right kind of light and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but you are kind of limited.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Everybody's taking the same shot of the same thing, and how would that be any different than those guys in the spacecraft? I mean, yes, they're much more limited because they're in a spacecraft and they have to. Although there was a part where they were. Angie was telling me, because I missed it, but in the dialogue they were trying to rotate the capsule so they could get a photograph.
Right. So they could get
So they did have some ability to maneuver around, at least to make things visible for them to photograph. But yes, very limited. But we come across a lot of limitations when we're photographing the world.
Right.
And yet you could say, is it the circumstances or is it the person? Anyway, it's all of the above,
but I'm saying
it's they're not mutually exclusive. Yeah.
No. And I just if I was there, what pictures would I take? And if it's my shift and it's my hour at the window, I'm getting all I can get there.
Well, you have a certain obligation, obviously, because we're sending you guys up there with the equipment.
Yeah.
You got to start taking a lot of pictures, right?
Yeah.
No bucks, no Buck Rogers kind of thing. But I'm imagining you in the spacecraft with your, 23 millimeter lens on your, your XC
I'd be shooting
that.
street. I'd be mugging.
Right, exactly.
I'd be hassling the people in the capsule.
Capsule.
They'd be the best black and white space street pictures you ever saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay.
I don't know.
But then, so a couple of things. I mean, the photographer, astronaut has to be thinking of a few things when they're framing up. They do have choices.
Yeah.
They have exposure choices. They have lens zooming choices. They did
get suggestions from the ground actually about watch your exposure on these particular images. I remember that that was coming up. No, they did. I remember hearing that.
Yeah.
They said you're in danger of overexposure on these particular images. To set the camera differently so that you take that into account. That's a
technical thing.
Message from the Capcom that I heard.
Anyway. But photographers have done a lot more with a lot less, like restricting their point of view, thinking of one photographer who's spent a year or however long shooting out his back window.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, I think it was a Korean photographer. I don't know, he shot 1 million pictures, but just from his back window, Anyway, not a fair comparison. I know. I'm just trying to say that there's, I don't know. I sense a little bit more there. I'm not sure it's just the circumstances. Yes,
I'm waiting more. I think I'm just waiting more. I mean, yes, you have to have an artistic bent, I think, to create the images that they did. But I'm also, I'm back towards weighting more towards circumstance, I think, than you. That's okay. The pictures, I love them, and they will be desktop backgrounds, and they're amazing. And getting to see that the texture and the craters on the moon in the best resolution up to now is going to be great, and to see that, and
Is there a particular photograph that pulled you in from this?
Yeah, I think it's in the notes that you sent me. I like the one where the moon it ends in 489.nef. That's a raw file. That NEF means raw, doesn't it? Is that the Nikon? Yeah. That's a Nikon raw.
That's the Nikon raw file.
So about not quite 2/3 of the image is moon on the left-hand side, and there's all these wonderful, it's almost like animal footprints of craters, and the sun in, I don't know if it's waxing or waning because I've never seen the
right.
The sun is in the earth is in crescent, and that's my favorite with the black sky. just funny.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one for me. Yeah, that's the one for me.
Well, what I appreciate about that is, like, when we have a lot of black in photographs, some in space you have no choice but have black. Like, no matter how much you can open up the aperture, the shutter speed, make it longer, and maybe you could get the details on the dark side of the Earth or the moon, right? But you have this black backdrop. Everything is against black. Mm-hmm. And it has to it's either going to be overwhelmed by the black, or the black is going to be used as part of the composition in it. It's going to be part of this this dance between the lights and the darks. Black is going to exist in these pictures, and I'm always intrigued by that. But when you see a picture like above it, the one in the notes, it ends in 234.nef. There's like the edge of the moon. I guess it is also the solar eclipse or something like that. There's some light behind the moon. There's no edge thing, but you can see stars in the background in that picture. And there's either flare or something in the picture on the left. It could be a reflection in the space capsule. If you look at it, yeah, but if you look at it, it kind of looks like, my imagination looks like it's a galaxy or a planet or something. Yeah.
Well, they did say in the live video that Venus was a bit of a distraction. So it might be Venus. It might be Venus. It could be Venus, but to Venus me, was up on the left.
If that little dot wasn't there, and of course I'm reasonably sure that NASA is probably not allowed to, or none of the astronauts are going to be like, well, I should just, should just Photoshop that out because it's a distraction. No, they leave everything in the picture because it's what they captured, and very much like photojournalism. Like, there's probably, I can imagine there's no manipulation other than like dealing with exposure in the pictures. Mm-hmm. But if that picture did not have that little galactic flare in the shot, to me it'd be okay, but it wouldn't quite be a solid enough shot. And for some reason, there's a sense of scale in there. If I think of it as a galaxy, and of course, it's just my imagination. Mm-hmm. If I think of it as a galaxy or a planet, it's so, I don't know. There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes through my mind when I look at that picture, and it's done in such subtle tones. There's almost no black in that picture because they've opened up the exposure a little bit, so you could see that there's a lot of noise in the shot and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So it's not working with the black like the picture that you're talking about. There's detail, and I think some of that is coming from the flare from the sun. Mm-hmm. So it's obviously not the space things, but you can see stars this time. Mm-hmm. So it's not just a black backdrop. Mm-hmm. And to me, that feels the most celestial, the most almost science fiction-y. I don't know, the hopeful. I can't describe it. It also looks a little ominous to me.
Yeah,
is that picture too? I don't know, like the not the horrors of space. Sorry, the danger of being out there. So, and like, how much farther do we have to go? Like, if that's a planet or a galaxy, that little flare, we still have a long way to go. So that's what I see in that picture. Anyway, it's kind of a long-winded thing, but I don't know. I think I kind of wish that we didn't have all this AI cluttering up our visual streams, as it were, because I've been seeing a lot of pictures coming up in the timeline that are people who are just wanting to get some sort of being noticed on social media, and so they're creating images that look like they're from the capsule. You could tell that they're not, but I think for most people who don't know anything, in fact, I did see someone post, a friend of mine posted on Facebook an AI picture, and I had to point out to him, I said, this was AI, this is not reality. But I was imagining in this person's mind that they thought that this was what the astronauts were seeing.
Yeah.
And to me, that, of course, dilutes the strength of the real photography, right, which is a story that's going on, with AI, of course.
So
and I'm really... Go ahead.
We can only refer people to the NASA image archive at images.nasa.gov and go to the Artemis 2
But I mean, people's experience of this sometimes is just through their social media feeds, and so whatever pops up on there, they'll believe, and it disheartens me that someone will think the spectacular image is of the, what the astronauts photographed out their window, and it's not. Right. And I just worry that these pictures in general, someone like you and me, where we're geeks about this stuff, it's going to be great. But back in the 60s, the entire world was captivated by this stuff. Mm-hmm. And to me now, the disappointment is that there's less of that. And it could come from, everybody's been watching Star Wars and Project Hail Mary and all these other, things that are giving us imagery of space. But here's the real stuff. Like, this is the stuff we should be really paying attention to. And it's just a bit of a disappointment that it's not anymore. I can't change that, but yeah, I wish we had that same pull towards it that you and I did when we were growing up. It was something that, what will be the next thing, Oh, you know what I was thinking about? Someone is going to have to, two things, and then I'll shut up and we'll get the other show. But I want to hear your take on this. First of all, what if some company puts up a rover or rovers on the moon that then people could hire, like you could pay money and control the rover and then take pictures where the rover goes? So you could take your own pictures of the moon.
Well, I think that would
be weird.
Well, I know in Mission Control or whatever you want to call it, Space Center Houston. I visited there, and they have a remote control, little remote control thing that was on a diorama that was supposed to be the moon, and you could look through the cameras and drive it. It'd be something along those lines where you could, take pictures of the moon. I think it could be used to monetize space missions, I don't know. No. I think it would be fine.
Because then you're just a remote camera operator. I mean, I've done remote camera operating before, but I'm still in control of it. There's limitations, but I'd still be able to take the pictures. So I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
So if anyway,
I'm sure a 3 or 4 second latency issue you'd have to deal with a round trip, but
Yeah, but that wouldn't be such a big deal because you'd drive and then you'd stop and then you'd frame and you'd photograph. But anyway, that being said, did you ever see the movie Moon with Sam Rockwell?
Yeah, I did. I love that movie. I've watched it 3 or 4 times.
I love that movie too. I won't spoil it, but there is a scene where you're maybe at the beginning or something like that where they're showing sort of this overview of the moon, like a moonshot, and you can see they're mining the moon for helium-3. And you can see the marks on the moon from the tractor vehicles that are going and scouring the moon's surface to look for helium-3. So it then changes the way the moon looks. So I imagine, like on a really nice night, imagine we get to the moon and they're harvesting helium-3 and they're starting to actually scour the surface of it, and it actually changes how the moon looks in photographs that we will then take from then on. And I don't say there's a solution to this. It's like, well, sure, if we could get resources from the moon for less money and it solves problems on Earth, kind of all for that. Yeah. But then I'm worried about what happens with, the visual that we had of the moon. So
I remember seeing, I don't know what it was. It was one of the Star Trek movies where the Borg took over and then the Earth looked different. It looked like a giant city, and I think the moon was also populated or something. And it had it had like cities and arteries and stuff on it and that sort of thing. It's kind of the worst case scenario, but yeah, that's something we're going to have to grapple with, I suppose, at some point. But it'll probably be after us.
After us, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing people will just get used to it. Anyway, that's enough said about that. I'm really happy that I get to play with these pictures. I'm glad. Can you access them in Canada through the website?
Oh yeah, it's wide open. It's for the whole Earth. That all of those .gov, the image banks for NASA, they're available all over the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
I highly recommend if anybody's got an afternoon to kill, it's definitely a rabbit hole to go down, especially when you can download a lot of them for yourself, especially
also
the high-res
previous
versions.
missions, if you're our age and you want to look at the pictures that the astronauts actually took on the surface of the moon, or or ISS or Skylab, all these things that we've forgotten about.
Oh, Skylab.
There was some really interesting stuff that was being done, and people took color pictures of it, and it's pretty spectacular. So
definitely go down that route. All right, well, there we go. Good luck, astronauts, on your way back. You'll probably be home by the time I publish this.
They splash down on Monday. So
Monday, yeah. So till the splashdown, yeah. That'll be fun. All right. Well, cool. That's it. We're done.
That's it. All right, goodbye.
Where are we finding you?
You can find me on Vero, Twitter, and Blue Sky at WRosinPhoto. Instagram, I'm at Ward Rosin Fine Art. My Facebook, I am Ward Rosin Photo, and my website, as always, is rosin.ca. That's rosin.ca. And you, Master Antonio, where can we find you?
Where can you find me? I'm at Blue Sky at AM Rosario, Instagram at AM Rosario Photo, and my website is amrosario.com. And if I can do a little plug here, I just got my print store up and running on my website. So if you want to support the show, another way to support the show is if you want to buy some of my prints. So you can go to amrosario.com/print-store. I've got a selection of stuff up there all ready to buy. I print them myself, and I am waiting for I actually designed using AI, but a little stamp for the back of my prints.
Oh, cute.
The Rosario Print Company, and it's got a camera on it, and it's designed like something from the late 1800s, early 1900s.
Cool.
So anyway, support us by supporting me, going to my website and maybe buying a print. So amrosario.com. Look for me on Facebook too. I post a lot on Facebook, Rosario Photo there. And would you subscribe to our Substack, please? We want more subscribers. I think we shot past 400. We got 400 of you guys reading our Substack. So
yay.
Street Shots, yay! There was much rejoicing. Streetshots.substack.com. And another way to support us, more with money, and is buying us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Antonio Rosario. Although if I was going to say you want to support us, buy a print. And I know you've got prints available, right? Or
I do. I have. Yeah, I've got all the images that I created TIFFs for to send to the printer are available up there, and it's just been accumulating. But if there's something you see in my galleries that you want, I can certainly print. So just feel free to contact me if there's anything in any of those galleries that you'd like me to print. I'd be happy to do it for you.
Please do. I love the exchange of prints. If anybody else wants to exchange a print, I'm willing to look at that too. But supporting us like that, buying our art, is probably the best thing. Also, print store. I love print stores. So I'm gonna be with my print store. I'll probably be rotating the what's available to keep it fresh. But I'll leave this up for a little while. So go check it out. Anyway, Ward. Wow, we had a heck of a chat.
Yeah, it's nostalgic and new and exciting and fun.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. So I'll see you at the end of April, I'm guessing.
You bet. At the end of April.
Yeah. And
maybe the snow will be gone by then.
Fingers crossed.
I'm not complaining. I'm complaining, but I'm not complaining. I'm just saying. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And for everybody else, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. And thanks for joining us tonight. And I look forward to it. So good night, Ward.
Good night.